Yo, what's goody, family? Welcome to the Devil's Advocate with Ace Anderson and Akron Watson, where we're making the best case for the guiltiest pleasure.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's what she said.
Wow.
She wanted to be abstinent.
Damn.
Yeah, and we all ready to go.
I think that's a
Man,
sign,
ask
nigga.
anybody. There are no benefits to abstinence.
Yo, what's goody, family? Welcome to the Devil's Advocate with Ace Anderson and Akron Watson, where we're making the best case for the guiltiest pleasure.
Get the fuck out of
I
here.
think that's what she
These
said. Man,
motherfuckers.
wow. She wanted to be abstinent. Yeah, and we all ready to go.
I think that's a
Man,
sign,
ask
nigga.
anybody. There are no benefits to abstinence.
Yo, what's goody, family? You're here once again on a Monday with the SiHK Brothers. You here, we talking on the Devil's
here.
Advocate, making the best cases for the guiltiest pleasures, baby. Act, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm actually sending you one of my guilty pleasures as we speak.
Oh.
Check your phone.
Yeah.
Check your phone there, sir. Everybody's gonna get to see one of my guilty pleasures, but Ace got to see it first. That's my flavor of the week. What's up, y'all? What's good, man? It is still Black Future Month.
Yeah, man.
It is still bright Black futures on the horizon. What are we, 3 weeks into Biden and Kamala's? Feeling good. I'm feeling good. I don't know about y'all. Y'all get y'all stimulus? What's up? You get stimulus? Anyways, I'm too rich to get the stimulus. I just want that to be known. I didn't get it because they think I got too much money. I'm broke. But they think that I got the money, so they didn't send me nothing. Yep. So
Yo, so
sucks.
the topic for this week is or the question for this week is white God or Black future? I'm gonna be honest, Zach. I'm gonna be honest, man. This question pisses me off, yo.
Oh, you mad?
Me off.
Damn, it's so early.
Nah,
What you
cause
mad for,
because just in it alone makes it seem like the color of my skin is the most important factor of my person.
So you think you got to choose his color when you're talking about the person that you pray to? You gotta choose his color first, and that pisses you off.
Yeah. Because why does that matter? That's not what I think about when I'm praying to God. That's not thinking about when I'm asking for when I truly need guidance. I'm not thinking about the color of the guy's skin.
Wow. So do you see his face? See, man, I'm a dog. This, bruh. I love and hate this topic too, bro. I totally feel you.
Yeah, I don't know if I see your face. I don't know if I don't know. I think it's like there's a level of respect when you have for someone that is so great, right? That you don't even want to like look them in the eye because they're so much greater than you. Because in some sense, it doesn't matter what they look like to you. Like all that matters is what you look like to them, and you in comparison, right? Like you are nothing in comparison to this great person. So the only place that feels suitable to look is down. And when I'm looking down and then asking for something and hoping for something, that there's a first of all, just looking down, there's a level of trust or respect that I have because I know that just being in your presence is mercy. Because you're so great that you could do away with me at any second. So for me to be now looking at the ground, showing my respect, and then humbly asking for something, that's the only thing on my mind. I'm not thinking about your identity at all. I'm thinking about what you could do for me and what you could do to me, right? If I went the wrong direction.
So you are so selfless in that moment, and so like completely just powerless, and
Right.
and and completely given over to this presence that it doesn't matter what it looks like. You see blackness, you see nothing, you see you just are just possessed with the presence.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
That's crazy.
Because that's what it is. It's an energy, it's a source, right? It's the source energy of all things, of all living beings. And so when I'm connected to that, like, I don't care if the God is white, like, I don't care what he looks like. It's like if you think about a king, right? Think about a true monarch, a crazy king that could kill you. They're the king and you're a peasant. You go into
Yes.
their kingdom, and
Yes.
you're gonna make judgments about what their skin tone is and what
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
That don't sound right.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're a peasant. Like,
So
you're lucky to be even in the palace to begin with.
what should we change the question to then? What should the question be?
I don't think the question should change, because I think the question is a potent question, because
Yeah.
what it does is it brings I feel like all of the important aspects of life into one question, and then forces you to think about it in this really shallow way, right? So you have the greatness of the future and the greatness of God, right? Those are two things that humans can't control. We yearn to know what's in the future, right? We wish we could travel into the future, just see what's out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We wish
Mm-hmm.
we could bend time to our will, and we also wish we could be God, right? We wish that we could be masters of the universe and understand everything so much so that we can cheat death. So that's the almighty that we're talking about when we talk about God in the future. Then when we talk about black and white, it's such a simple idea, right? So it's a shallow concept, just black, white. But what's cool about it is that black and white is what makes up everything, right? So ones and zeros, that's how our technology is made. So everything is made up of black and white. But then it becomes fallacious when you apply it to skin tone, because number one, there isn't just black and white. That's something that's kind of made up, right? Like, there's a spectrum of color, and it's definitely not the color black that we think of when we think of black, and it's definitely not the color white when we say white, right? So already you're trying to force this shallow idea, this concept of, like, this binary concept, and you try to force it onto skin tone. It doesn't work. It doesn't really apply. So I love the question in the sense of what it does, but I hate the question in the sense of how it's handled, like what it forces you to reckon with.
Yo, I think we have to address why it exists, and in doing so, we are, we're pushing our own boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we have to, once we admit its existence and admit its origin, because we didn't come up with it, it was forced onto us, and now we call ourselves black. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't like, oh, we're the black people and they're the white people. No, the white people did that, and then they made themselves more important than everybody else. And they continued to do it as they met other people. They were like, oh, those are the yellow people. We're still better than them. You know what I mean? And they continue to exact that mentality. So, like, I think when you're dealing with God too, when you're talking about people being oppressed, and like, why, I think people ask constantly, why is God allowing this to happen? And so you have to deal with that too, because it's like our version of Christianity, which is what most black people are attached to, came from slavery. You know what I mean? And so like, what do they really believe in? You know, it forces them to do that. That's what I feel like the question does. It forces them to say, what is it that I'm truly believing in and why? And I think that's a great question to be asking constantly. Like, what are you doing? Don't just be traditional. Don't just be what your mom said that you should be just because you've been doing it since you were 8. You know, I know so many people who are doing that. You know, personally. And so
what do you think is the value of tradition, if there's any?
Storytelling. I think that within tradition is our story, and like our stories need to be passed on. And so I think that truth in storytelling and traditions is what generations can gain from tradition. So it's not like I don't want things to be documented. You know, I don't want there to not be historians, but I want to continue to progress forward. And part of that is admitting that like parts of our fucking society are just fucking stupid. And we're just doing them because of tradition. You know, and if we can progress, I'm down for it. So I feel like this is a very progressive question to be asking too, because it's like white guy, black guy, God. You know, I think that I also think that I just love black bodies, and so I just want them to be attached to the right thing, man. I want people to know what the right thing is, and I want them to keep seeking truth in their own lives and self-love and shit like that. You know, this is a very self-love question because you know who your God is doesn't really determine if you're gonna get a check at the end of the month. You know, that's about where you go to work. But this is a very like self question. So.
Oh snap, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the sound, so you know what time it is. It is time for the flavor of the week, baby.
Yo, it's the flavor of the week. It's the flavor of the week. The flavor of the week, baby.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything about Akron and I, it's that we love the ladies. We love the ladies. So we even made a whole segment of our show just to pay tribute to all the lovely ladies that we love, man. So this week we got Akron's flavor. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up for y'all. I always say let me see like I'm not able to. We got Ashley Reyes.
Ashley Reyes.
My wife.
No relation. Is one of the, first of all, most beautiful Puerto Rican women I have ever seen in my life. Just look at this woman. Stunning, and she's an actress, and she's a nerd, and she's smart, and she's funny. She's exactly.
Oh, she's got
exactly.
it. Oh.
Right, cute.
I need to,
but also like fine. Don't be liking too many pictures there, bruh. Don't hold on. You liking a lot of stuff, but she's a friend. But what makes her relevant also to this week is she's a member of the cast of American Gods. You just passed it. She's a member. She's a new member of this season of the cast of American Gods. And since we're talking about gods, I love this show, man. It's got everything that we like about television, and it's about gods. She's not a god in the show. You should go watch the show to see what she does in it, bro.
I will definitely check it out.
Season 3 of American Gods. And the gods in that show are white and black, for the record.
There you go. We got white and black gods.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull up my flavor. My flavor of the week for y'all is Madam Katie. I can't even Winifumbo. She is part Nigerian, half Nigerian, and
Half Nigerian.
half fine.
Half. What's the other half?
I can't. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see if it says it in her bio.
Irish? Is it Greek? She looks like she might be mixed with white. White.
Yeah, she's half black, half white for sure.
Yeah. Oof. Stunning. Like stunning.
Just
oh God. Just
I don't even understand where they make
that's really
at.
crazy.
I don't like where do they make these at?
Where can you just see this on the street?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you just be walking around and seeing people like this. I heard LA was like that, but it don't be like this though.
I haven't seen that, bro, since 2019. I feel like I saw a girl that looked like that just walking outside.
You know, she kind of reminds me of Tessa Thompson, like if Tessa Thompson was bad.
Don't do that because I saw Tessa Thompson in person one time, bro. And she's just a little too skinny for that head of her. Like she's got the peanut head and then no tits and yeah. Anyways, let's not do this.
But I fell in love with Tessa Thompson for the first time in Westworld. In the last season, Westworld. Like just her story and how she was the conflict. Yo, that shit was dope. And I was completely surprised by the turn of events.
But did you feel her acting in that? Like honestly,
yeah,
did you feel it?
Yeah,
I was blown. I was like, what? Who is this?
Yeah, man, exactly. I was and shit. I can't even. I don't want to ruin it, but I mean, whatever. So, when the fucking when the car blew up and when her kid.
Oh yeah, no, hold on. Don't do that. No, because people might not. I don't want people because that show is already good, but like that's my favorite season, and like she's by far my favorite performance. I don't know season 1 though. I don't know, man. Season 1, like what a good show.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It's really great. But actually that's a great segue to talking about the series that I'm working on that I've been talking to you about. Yeah, so I've been working on a pitch for a new TV series, high-end, big-budget TV series that is essentially a gruesome retelling of the biblical stories in Genesis since the beginning of time. And it's, I think it's some of the best work that I've put together, that I've written. And I think that this project is going to change the world. It's called Sons of Adam. It truly is based on the Adam and Eve stories, and that's what we start with. And as I get more and more epiphanies about it every day, I'm like, this shit is brilliant. Like this is true. Like it's truly going to answer so many questions for people about what these stories mean, right? Like I feel like we've been fighting for thousands of years about the stories in this book, and no one has taken the time to actually use what we know and everything we understand about life to fully dissect and illustrate what is going on and the stories that are being told here, because I think that the Bible is the greatest book assembled, because it's the greatest stories of humanity all in one book. And I think that they've been misinterpreted, because we see elements of it as like hocus pocus, but it's not really hocus pocus. There's not really much magic, right? Like people always highlight the magic moments in the Bible and all the miracles that happen to debunk it, but that's not it really at all what the Bible is about. Like there's a ambiguity to righteousness that people rarely talk about. People like want to talk about like, oh, if you're a Christian, you'd think that if it was wish fulfillment, if the Bible was just kind of hocus pocus and just made to make people feel better and make people feel happy and like God loves us all, like then you'd think that it would be easy for the people in the Bible when like God is talking to them. You think if you got God on your side, this almighty dude, that they wouldn't be beset with all of the tragedies that they're beset with throughout the Bible. I mean, it's like there's people that have to kill their sons. Like there are people that have to do some really horrid and vicious things in the Bible. And I think that that's how life is, right? Like life is kind of ambiguous in terms of what choices to make and where to go and how who should you be guided by, and that's exactly how the Bible is told. The stories in the Bible are told, and I think that all of the stories have been put together to tell the perfect narrative of the detailed battle between good and evil. That's my thoughts.
So wait, the name of the show is
Sons of Adam.
And I saw a video. Is that video public that you sent me?
The video is in public. So right now I'm a part of Owaka Pitch Fest, and I wrote this pitch. It got selected, so I'm one of 35 different people who will be reviewed by judges who are a part of Apple Plus and Netflix and Amazon, I believe, and they'll basically watch my video. I had to make a 3-minute video, just pitching the idea, talking about the video, whatever I wanted to do. Just had to be under 3 minutes. I presented that and I made the video. I sent it out to a couple of friends to let them see it, but I'll probably wait until after the 26th to start showing it publicly.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to wait till the festival, because I don't know exactly what I have to do in the festival. This is my first one. If I'm they're probably going to give me an hour or so to meet and talk with, or maybe even 30 minutes to meet with, somebody who's interested. I think it's basically going to work like Shark Tank, I have the opportunity. I've already been selected, but now it's the opportunity to see who wants to help produce it and and bring the idea to fruition. But
Sons of Adam.
Yeah, man, it's really gonna change the world, because how did these stories get preserved? You get to really watch that journey, how we started telling these stories and how we passed them down for generations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I'm doing my best to be as far from supernatural as possible. So
let's be scientific, which is pretty supernatural.
Yeah, it's gonna be exactly 100%. All phenomenons are gonna be based in reality, very
Absolutely
gruesome reality. But I wanted to feel like Game of Thrones, you know, like how dope would it be to have a Game of Thrones style series set in Africa, you know, with all black people, and it's about Adam and Eve, right? Like it's about the beginnings of everything, because we know we came from Africa, we know we started there, so let's try to realistically tell the story as if it actually happened.
See, now you're talking about giving black people jobs.
Exactly, yo. Exactly. It's gonna change the world, man. This honestly, I'm super excited about it. I really want to play the pitch, but I don't think I should. I don't think I should.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it if you don't feel like you should. Because then the whole world will see it. But it reminds me of an idea I had about a remake of Shaka Zulu. Did you ever see Shaka Zulu? First of all, do you know who David Hasselhoff is?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch that show that he was on? What was the name of that beach show that he was on?
Baywatch.
Baywatch.
I never watched it, but I know it. I know it.
When the blonde chick became popular, I watched a couple episodes to try to see her boobs. Yeah.
Same.
Yes. Same. Well, then David Hasselhoff is a hilarious person on that show, not intentionally, I think. And then rewind like 15 years, and he was in a movie called Shaka Zulu about an African king who basically had a kingdom, man. I mean, the white people were trying to come and invade, and Shaka Zulu was like 7 feet tall, man, or some shit. You know what I mean? Like he had like 9 wives, and I feel like he had a sex scene with every one of them in the movie. It was incredible, man. And he controlled an army, and this was the guy that could get mad and cut people's heads off. You know what I mean? And it was, and I forgot what David Hasselhoff's role in it was, but I just remember him in his chest hair. You know what I mean? And but also what I remember is a lot of black people, a lot of Africans with jobs, man. A lot of Africans with jobs, and it was a 4-part miniseries, so it was like a soap opera about an African king almost. And I want it to happen again. But Sons of Adam could definitely do that for us.
Hell yeah, man. It's actually funny because I had this idea when I was in high school. In 9th grade, I started writing a book about the beginning of time. And basically I wanted to tell the story of how all mythology and gods and all of that stuff, they all existed at one point. And they all existed, and half of them were created by humans. And so that's what, like, all the mythological creatures, like, the Gorgon and the and like the Greek gods and the African gods, they were all made up by humans. And and then there was basically like a war between the humans and these mythological creatures, and it was like basically black people and white people, or like X-Men, like mutants. They were segregating the myth.
I just wanted to say that I don't know if people know that mutants were based off of black people. I don't think people know that. I don't think that's public knowledge.
Really?
People don't know. I think, black people, mutants were based off black people. And Malcolm X was Magneto, and Martin Luther King was Professor X. And they took our stories, and they still making money off of them. And you ain't never gonna see no black Professor X.
Well, it's all good, because look, we're gonna turn Adam and Eve. We're gonna portray Adam and Eve how they truly should have been portrayed all since the beginning.
Cain and Abel.
We're gonna take.
Can't wait for that story.
And we can say we're taking the white stories, because people always say that white people gave gave us Christianity, right? So people can say we're taking the white stories, but I beg to differ. You know, that's why this question pisses me off, because the fact that we even fucking talk it is so annoying, yo. It's like, yo, we stuck on some shit that some fucking white people made up, some dumb shit some white people made up a couple hundred years ago, right? My ancestry goes back 3.5 billion years, and people want to
Right.
talk about what some stupid white people did,
400 years ago.
400 years ago.
400 years ago. Okay. So basically what you're saying is it's bigger than that. It's bigger.
Hell yeah, man. Yo, it's the difference between God and an ant, right? Like, when you think about time, you have to think about time, past, present, future. You got to see the whole time span, right? You have to see everything when you're thinking like a god. When you think like a human, you're thinking like an ant, right? You're thinking based off of this short amount of time, because your lifespan is 60 to 90 years average. Exactly.
This much in terms of like time.
Yes, in terms of all time.
It's like this is how much time you spend on the earth versus how long the earth is gonna. This is the earth, and then this is time out here. Like,
yeah.
This is our galaxy. This is the other galaxy on top of another galaxy on top of another galaxy.
And so when you start to think about skin color, yo, really, like, when you think about 3.5 billion years, and then you think about skin color, it's like,
But you can't treat it you can't treat it like it's trivial, because a lot of people weren't raised that way. A lot of people were raised a different way, and so you have to be. It's like you have to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you have to, because if you don't, then people are gonna be talking about it anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. You have to talk about it, but we can't get stuck there, right? Like, people talk about like look, there's lots of, me and Gabrielle have arguments all the time, right? Like, we fight like any couple fights, and when we have those fights, we have to remember, like, before, when we used to have those fights, we wouldn't ever talk about them. Like, if people found out, if we talked to other people about it, we would just, like, we couldn't ever talk about the fights. But then when that would happen, when we would hold it, when we would treat it like precious, like he who shall not be named, right? When we would treat it like that, then when the fights would come up, they were demonic, that we were stuck in, we were stuck in them, right? Like, they were soul sucking, because now that we didn't have time to talk about them, then we never aired it out. So the fights were always the fights. So we were stuck in the past, right? We're stuck in that moment. So what happens is, with racism and slavery, a lot of times we get stuck in that section of life, because we don't get to talk about it, like, openly, right? Because when me and Gabrielle started talking about it, now when we get into fights, we just laugh about it. And we'll laugh about it the next day. We've gotten so good at it that, like, we don't get stuck there anymore. We know that the fight was the fight, and we can now talk about it openly, but it doesn't have to be like, don't talk about the fight, don't mention this, don't mention that we had any negativity. Instead, it's like, yeah, we fight. Of course we fight. It was stupid. Oh yeah, that we said that thing. We don't talk about it like, oh yeah, remember when you said that thing to me? It's more like, oh yeah, remember when you said that shit? And that's funny. Like, she was telling me this the other day, right? Like, we can talk about it plainly and objectively. We don't have to be in it like we're, like, subjective, right? And so I think that's the same way with slavery and with racism. Like, we we gotta be able to just talk about it like it's a thing. And I think that's what Gabrielle and I both do in our lives. And in a lot of our friends' lives, but we have a lot of people in our lives who want to just talk about it as though like they're in it, like you're in it, and you can't talk about it like you're in it. You got to talk about it like you're out of it, and then there's hope to solve it, right? Like because you're outside of it.
Yeah, of course. I think so. I think, of course, I think the issue is that we don't trust the other side, and we don't, it's hard to trust, like, and when you can't trust the other side, then we're constantly worrying about what could happen to us. We've seen the we've seen what could happen. Like it's just crazy, man. So it's just it's a very forced situation that I think people don't want to like address.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
talking about it gives understanding. Yes,
about you. Yeah, about you both.
Yes. You know who I really want to talk to? That was another thing that I was thinking with that something that you said made me think I want to talk to a racist person.
Mm.
I really want to talk to somebody who thinks that they can call me a nigger. I saw this woman a couple of days ago called her, two guys that were delivering some stuff, niggas. And the girl who was filming her was white. And she was like, "Ma'am, don't say that to them." And she was like, I can call them niggers. Those are niggers. This was like 2021. This is this year. So my thing is, I want to talk to somebody like that to understand what she is thinking. Because it's not that I identify with the word. There's no question I'm not a nigga. I know I'm not a nigga. But when she says it, it makes me think about what her husband would do if he saw me running down the street one day. If he thought that I was standing too close to his car or something, just any fucking thing. That's what her saying nigger makes me think. What her 29-year-old son might do to me if he saw me alone in a car or some shit. That's what it makes me think. And so, like, I want to talk to her. I just want to talk to her. I just want to like have a normal conversation with her. Like, okay, you think that I'm a nigger? Okay, why do you think that? And then as we talk, I want her to understand that like nothing that she thinks about me is true. But then I also want to understand her. That's what I also just got from that comment that was just made, is that like I want to understand why a person like that could even let the word nigger come out of her. I want to understand it. Now, I don't want to take it on. I don't need to take it on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm an adult. I'm not going to talk to somebody and be like, "Oh, you've convinced me. Yes, I am a nigger." That's not what I'm looking to do. What I'm looking to do is have an understanding of, because to me, it just sounds stupid. And I don't want to write off a whole big piece of the country, because obviously there's a lot of racist people out there. And so that's just obvious. And so I don't want to write them all off as being stupid, because that's what I think we're all doing. I think we're all secretly, we don't want to talk about it, but we're all secretly being like, man, racist people dumb as hell. Okay, you're talking about a lot of people. And so I ain't saying that they need a representative. I don't need to speak to their representative, but I don't know. I would just love to just sit down and just have a safe conversation where I know that they ain't no guns and nothing. And, we just talk. I mean, maybe it's guns outside, but not in the room where we are.
Well, I might have hear about that guy. What's his name? Daryl. I can't remember his name, but he went to a bunch of white supremacists and like he became friends with them. Like would go like he's a black guy and he would go and sit down and talk with white supremacists and he got one of them to turn. He got several of them to turn in their KKK robes.
Oh shit!
Yeah, man. Just by going in and talking and realizing, like, hey, we're all the same people because we're just talking. Like when you get to the root of it, we're literally all the same. Like we're all the same thing. We have different little quirks, like we got different little elements that make us up, but it's just like when you play a video game, right? You can choose from like these 5 settings, right? But essentially the person that you're moving around as is the same as the next person, right? So that's the same thing in life, right? We all have these different settings. We were born in different time zones. We were born in different areas. We were born with different skin colors, born with different parents, born with different desires, different passions, different talents, different skills. We are born with different religions, right? There's so many things that we're born differently with, but that's still doesn't make up even 0.1% of who we are. Right? We're the most complex being on the planet that we know of. The most complex, right? And so for us, it's like we have to recognize that our complexity, right, is complex enough. We have to simplify it from there by trusting each other, right? Like life is already too complicated, man. I got all these wants and needs and desires and things, and there's just so much complication. I am such a complex being. I don't even know how I function. I get sick and I need to go to someone else to tell me how to get better, right? Like I'm such a complex being. If I had to think about breathing all the time, like I would be dead. If I had to think about making my heart beat, like I would be dead. There's so many things that are going on underneath the surface that I'm not even aware of, and I'm overwhelmed by the little bit that I have control over, you know? So it's better when we're associating with other people to trust people, right? Because when you trust them, then it simplifies all of that, right? Like I don't have to worry about you because I trust you. But when I don't trust you, now I gotta be worried about you. Now I have to be thinking about you. Now there's precious resources. Time is being spent thinking about you when I'd rather just trust you. I'd rather just walk into a space and like, okay, I know you're not gonna fuck me up. I know you're not gonna do anything, and I'm gonna go and do my thing. And I know I can have a conversation because I know I trust myself as well, right? So but the trust doesn't happen, right? Like, because if I walk into a room mistrusting you, you read that immediately. Something about this nigga I don't like. Yo, they don't trust me. They're hiding something, right? But if I walk into a room and I'm like, hey, what's up, yo? What's going on? It's kind of hard to deny that. Like, you kind of got to open up too. Hey, what's up? You got to match that energy and trust the same person, you know?
You know, I think yeah. I mean, it's a long conversation. We're not here to talk about race tonight. But you know, I will say when it comes to white people, like I think the distrust is real and it's relevant, and I think that I would never, just me personally, would never question anybody who was like, I don't trust white people, because I feel like I've just seen enough to know that like like oh my gosh. Sorry. See, it's just maybe I should get the vaccination. I don't know. But it's just like I feel like they've earned the distrust. They earned it. And so, it sucks. It sucks because you don't want to walk around not trusting people, but in a pressure situation, one of us is willing to take the other's life in a way that the other is not. You understand what I'm saying? And that's part of the issue, is that like they don't, some of them don't see us as humans, They either see us as like superhuman, like, oh, I'm going to shoot him 7 times, even though he doesn't have a gun and his back was turned. You know what I mean? Like, that's superhuman. Like, what was he going to do? What was he going to do to you that was so bad that you had to shoot him 7 times and he was unarmed? That is some superhuman racism.
I think there's also a power element too, man, when it comes to the cops, like that there's, I mean, I think that some cops think that they're in a video game, you know, like they think that this is you know, and they think that they can use the job. All right, so here's the thing. When I get pissed in my relationship, I know that I can go to work and be an actor, and I can blow off steam at work because I can put all my emotion into my job. If I was a cop and I get into a fight with my wife and then I go on to my job, I might still feel the same compulsion to blow off steam at my job and use the anger and frustration that I have towards my wife and spend all of that out in this moment in a knee-jerk reaction where I felt like I had to protect myself, right? And for instance, the guy who murdered George Floyd, he had just gotten a divorce, or he was having marital issues. He think he just had a fight with his wife the week earlier. And so you tie all of that into it. It sort of colors it a little bit differently to say that there is an authoritarian compulsion for cops to feel like, oh, I can let out my anger and my frustration on the job, when like you can't. You know, you can't. And then like you were saying, they pick squares to be cops, right? Like they pick people who haven't really been through much of anything, right? They they haven't done much at all in their lives, or grown up in the hood or around any
They're basically like they're
rough.
nerds.
Yeah,
They're like nerds. I mean, some of them are athletes, you know,
right,
but for
but
the
then
most part,
you
they're nerds.
pump them up with adrenaline. You know, you put them in a life and death situation, and then they feel like they have to, you know, react, and they've never been in this situation before, and they have all this trouble at home, right, and fears and things that they got to deal with at the house. So all of that goes into them making the split decision to uh, pull the trigger 7 times, you know.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen American Skin?
No.
You know, there's a great scene in American Skin where, you know, this cop is just under a lot of pressure and they're asking him questions and he really is compelled to answer honestly, and he just says like it's a part of the training, like they train us to do some of the things that y'all hate us for.
Mm.
That's what I was trained to do. And so it's like I don't think that every cop comes in the door like persistently racist, but it's like systematically been wrong to the point to where, like, you know, I think if we forget that cops play games with criminals, like we forget that like cops like they play like the lottery on who they're gonna arrest on what day. You know what I mean? So that type of authority, I totally agree that they walk into work with that. But yeah, I don't think it goes as far as to take somebody's life. I think that instinct is something bigger and deeper than just cops. You know, I think that's something that's like I don't think that your life is worth as much as mine. I think you know what I mean? Like it's the reason that they'll feel compassion for another white person in the same situation before they'll feel compassion for it. It's that thing. It's that, you know, there's a video where a guy's walking down the street with an AR-14, AR-15 or something, whatever the number is, and it's a white guy, and they pull up on him, and the cops jump out, and they're like, "Hey man, put the gun." No, they don't jump out with guns. They don't even jump out with guns. I think they jump out and talk to him. and he's like, you know, I have a license for this or whatever. And the black guy does the same thing, and they make him lay on the ground, and he has to put the gun in. Everybody's gun is drawn. It's the exact same gun. I don't know if it was the same street or the same cops. It just felt like, bruh, you know, in the same situation, they're gonna treat us a little differently, man. And it's about the value of life. And so that is where I think the distrust, that's what I think the distrust is rooted in, is in like this sort of like generational belief that their instinct is.
Do you think that we would talk about racism if black people had money and wealth?
Yes.
Like if we had wealth and money?
Yes. Yeah, I do, based on the reality right now. Like if you gave black people money right now, yes, we would still be talking about racism, because I think we'd start to see racism in different ways, and we'd have to address it. We'd have to be like, okay.
But well, I guess what I'm asking, like, if it wasn't rooted in economy, right, and in economic status, because a lot of times I feel like when people talk about race, they feel like the powers that be, more so, like they talk about white people as though they are more powerful than you know, like people, when people talk about race, they speak as though white people have all the power and authority and wealth and economy, and they're the boss, and that makes black people the slave, or not even the slave, but just employee, subservient, right? So if all of the things about racism were true, like we still, like, you know, they don't hire us for certain jobs or whatever, but we were making the same amount of money and we were doing the same things, and like, but black people were experiencing this kind of toxicity from white people that still wasn't being talked about as much as it's not being talked about, or hasn't been talked about, but it wasn't rooted in money. Do you think that it would be an issue?
No, because that would eliminate about 100 years worth of oppression. If we had money, if you're talking about equality, and if equality had been reached at some point sooner than now, yeah, we know right now we might not be talking about racism. Equality, though, was not reached in terms of people like respecting the fact that blacks deserve to make the same amount. We were just set back, bro. Like they, you know, like that's the shitty part, is that like we didn't start off where they did. And so like we have to give time its place and be like, we're now just figuring out how to be presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama did it really well, but that was the first one, bro. Like, why was that? Like, that is a perfect example of,
I mean,
of that.
You know, people always say that, but you know, to me, if you can look at it the other way. You can look at it to say, wow, it only took 44 presidents. It only took 44 presidents to come back from slavery. A slave is now a president, right? Somebody who would be a slave. Literally, they see you. There is no possible way that you will be sitting on the throne of America. Mm-hmm. And it only took 44. That's the power of black people, right? That's when people talk about how resilient and how strong we are. It's not because we have some superpower, right? There's not some superpower. Our ability to withstand anything is what makes us great, right? Like that persistence, because white people couldn't have done that. If we enslaved white people, they'd be dead and it would be genocide. There would be no more white people, right? If we did the same thing. So. Yes, what? That's why the white people couldn't have they didn't have the stomachs to to literally stomach what we were feeding, what we were being fed, right? They couldn't survive off of the things that we were feeding them. They couldn't survive. They got sick and diseased. That's why it was more lucrative to get the African slave, because the white slave did not last you very long. The white slave was frail, right? The black slaves were strong and resistant and resilient. That's what you wanted as a slave, because slavery was a huge economic boost, right? It was very helpful to boost the economy, because now we learned how to optimize the most powerful being that we know of, right? That we have found. This is the most powerful one. That's the ones we should make our slaves. This is the most powerful one. They tried with Indians. They tried with Native Americans. They tried with Asians. They tried with white people, right? And it became the Africans. And then everybody was like, "Oh shit, you're right. These Africans is good. They real good slaves, right? They will get me a lot for my money." Their work truly. That's how they're thinking about it, right? And because that's the value of what black people have, right? That's the power that we possess. So when people talk about slavery, when they talk about the power of the black people, that's what it means, right? Because we were able to, like, we were slaves and now we're president. Like, what the fuck? We move so fast, yo. So fast. We are lifting ourselves out of abject poverty. 250,000 people a day. It's crazy. Like, it's the fastest so for us to, I feel like we can think about it as the glass half empty, but the glass is full, man. The glass is full. We are moving. We got networks and we have TV stations. We have things that weren't even able to be considered ours. We got banks. We have all of this shit. And maybe it's not the top, but the rate at which we are getting to the top and winning awards and, killing the whole, all the Academy Awards going to black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like this type of shit that's happening. We weren't allowed to have anything. So now the fact that we have so much, we got millionaire black people. What? We got black people that are millionaires when we used to be slaves just a couple hundred years ago. A generation ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had slaves. So, yeah, I feel like it's more conducive to think about the side of the black future, right? Like, that's the side I'm rooting for. Right? You can get stuck on the white God. You can get stuck on the fact that, white people did this and brought God and, brought Christianity and fucked black people up. And you can think of it that way, or you can say, wow, black people really, really are something from the future, right? Like, we're past, present, future. We're literally everything, right? We're the beginning and we gonna make it to the end.
Do you think it would be lucrative to build a time machine?
I think that we have to learn from The Sims. So, I don't know if you ever played The Sims, bro.
Yeah, I played The Sims.
Yo. So, did you ever get the cheat code?
No, I never got the cheat code.
Okay.
No.
So in The Sims, you can get this cheat code where you basically can have all the money and you can build the house of your dreams. You can build everything. You can do whatever.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, you can like literally do whatever you want. You can have a bunch of women come by and like have your guy sleep with all of them and like that. You're the like, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want. And there's a cheat code for that, right? And what I found is that whenever I would use the cheat code, I would just not want to play the game anymore. So I'd buy this game, $60, and then I'd put the cheat code in. I'd play it for like 24 hours, and then I'd never play it again because it got boring after you have the cheat code, right? And so that says there's something valuable in having limitations, right? When you play chess, you can't really play the game of chess unless you have limits. You have to have the rules of chess and know the rules of chess and follow the rules of chess to properly play a game of chess. If there's no rules and anybody can do anything and I can do this, then the game doesn't become fun, right?
So then are you saying that the human race has an expiration date?
No, what I'm saying is that life has an expiration date, right? That life itself. So your individual story has an expiration date, and that's just the rules of the game, right? You don't get to choose a different one. You don't get to go back. You don't get to go forward. Time is the one thing that you don't get to control, but you are a god. You can control everything else you want. Anything else you want is yours. Right? If you align yourself properly with your vision, with your destiny, right? So if you start thinking about how can I jump outside of the game of time, right? Like my story, point A to point B, it starts to feel like a cheat code, like, right? Like if I can go to any place that I want, then like at some point I'm like, maybe it might be cool, but I wouldn't, but like at a certain point, it's going to get old, right? Like I'll find a time zone that I'm happy with, and that's where I'm going to want to stay, right?
Well, I mean, the way that time works, you can only go forward. You can't go backwards anyway. You could maybe send stuff back, but you can't go backwards. So I was thinking more like, oh man, what if we see like a really strong inkling that the human race is about to end? And we could go and see if that's true. We could go see how to fix it, maybe something along those lines, because we can't really go back and change anything as far as we know. Time only goes forward. You know, it doesn't go backwards.
See, what I believe is that time actually moves in a circle. Time is cyclical, and the reason why I believe that is because everything else is cyclical. Literally everything else ever it's based off of a revolution, right? And evolution. So it starts from one place, but then it morphs and goes around, and it goes in one particular direction. It doesn't go and then turn back, right? Like the sun doesn't ever spin the other way. The sun is always spinning this way. And so light is always spinning, right? Everything is always spinning, and we're all revolving around this universal black hole that is where everything is birthed from, the ultimate void from which everything is formed. And so all of that is time itself. That literally is time itself. And that's a rotating thing, right? Then you have all of the galaxies that are rotating in the universe, and then you have all the solar systems that are rotating in the galaxies, and then you have all the planets that are rotating in the solar systems, and then you have all the moons that are rotating.
Yes. And so the kind of time machine that I'm talking about would be something that would make you go faster in the spin. It would increase the spin. So because you can't decrease it, you can't stop it. Everything, like you said, is cyclical.
That's actually really interesting that you say that, because if you wanted to go to the past, then perhaps if you go far enough forward, then you'll get to the past. Does that make sense? Right? Because everything is gonna. All right. So if you think about it like the Big Bang, right? Everything starts from a giant explosion. Boom. That explosion is so massive that it creates a black hole, right? The ultimate gravitational force. That's what everything revolves around, right?
Gotcha.
And then that means that the universe is expanding because it's an explosion like this, right? And then eventually it expands so much that it starts to contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it contracts because that black hole is so powerful. And then the more massive it gets, it pulls everything back in, and then it sucks everything up, and then boom, it blows up again, and then everything starts over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what I think that time is in the universe is. So there is, theoretically, you could go forward enough that everything will eventually end and then blow up and then reverse back to where you were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a dream, because then you could literally never lose a moment. You know what I mean? Like, you could never lose a moment. I could just keep going forward to that moment again and just trying to fix it. Like,
but you know what's interesting is that you have changed, right? You have changed every time you make a revolution.
Yeah.
So the next time you experience that moment, it's not the same moment anymore. So your future isn't going to be the same anymore.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
I love this conversation. This is fantastic. And does God support time travel? You're saying no, though. You're saying no, God doesn't.
I think that's the one thing that is God's, right? Like, that's why God takes the tree of life from the Garden of Eden, because he says, look, you guys are already knowledgeable. You're like God. You know good and evil, right? But we're going to take away the tree of life, right? So he doesn't want the tree of life on earth for humans to eat, because then you're going to live forever, and then you'll actually be like a god. Like, and humans are too immature to be gods, right? To be the god, right? Like, we can't actually live forever. So I don't think it's on us to have time. I think that's part of the game. The fact that you're gonna die, you know you're gonna die. The game is set up against you. Like, what are you going to do with that? That's the ultimate fucking game, man. Because guess what? Like, if you actually subscribe to the idea that we're all gods, right? Think about you as the only person on the planet. You're a god, right? And like, so that means you're the best person on the planet, right? Like, you're the best person. You're God. You're the best. Yeah? So death...
Yes, I am.
So death is the worst thing that could happen to the best person. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are now existing, if you're existing as the sole entity, and then we know you're going to die, that's the best story that we could tell. Like, wow, oh shit, man. Like, he has to face the ultimate thing. Like, the best guy is gonna die. That's why the story of Jesus is so potent, because it's the worst possible circumstances happening to the best possible person. So I don't think that God, I think that we can't be great unless we can die. We can't like really achieve our greatness, because it's the fact that our achievements are seemingly death-defying that make us great and incredible.
I just found out that I'm a meme. I'm sorry. Somebody just sent it to me. So cool. No, I sort of agree with you. It's not that I want to defeat death, but I do at the same time. Yeah. So, I've had to deal with that for many years, especially being a sci-fi fan. I think that a lot of people look at science as an answer or a cure to time. Like, how can I make myself look younger? How can I do this? Like all these things.
I think
age
and so much time thinking about how they can defeat death rather than accepting that they're gonna die and then deciding how they're gonna die on their own terms. Right? Like I know I'm gonna die, so I should be planning exactly how I want to die. Right? Set my life up, because so that would be the closest thing to heaven. If I'm gonna die, I would like to die in the closest thing to heaven.
course.
Right? So what does that look like? Actually, maybe
My apartment. It looks like my apartment.
I have my relationship with my family is sorted out. I have a good relationship with a spouse. Maybe I have kids. Maybe I've actually accomplished something in my career. I've accomplished something that is notable. I've won a prize of some kind. What like I like what are my relationships like? Like how much of a legacy am I leaving? Right? Like those are the things that you should be planning because you're gonna die, right?
You're gonna die.
You know you're gonna die, so you set it up so that you get to die on your terms. You're not dying, without having done anything. Because what happens is, at the end of your life, people actually regret more than anything. People regret things not done.
On my deathbed, I'm gonna be thinking about stuff I didn't do.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
That's what you're gonna be thinking about. Not so much like what you don't have or moments that you didn't get to have. No, it's things you didn't do. Things you didn't accomplish. Promises you made to yourself. Conscious thoughts that you made to yourself that you never followed through with. That's what's going to be on your mind at your deathbed.
Wow. I look forward to proving you wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna be thinking about steak, and I'm gonna be thinking about who can I fuck in this hospital.
In a hospital, nigga? You gonna die in a hospital, bro?
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna be taken care of, bro. Like I'm gonna be chilling in a nice. Yeah, it's gonna be nice, bro. Because I'm gonna be so old. I'm gonna be so old. They gonna have me hooked up to stuff. I'm gonna be like 160, nigga. And they gonna be like, how is he even still alive?
I know, me too. I wanna like walk to my tree pod because they're gonna like turn me into a tree, and I'll just like walk to my tree pod and sit cross-legged, and sit, and then the wind will be blowing, and they'll come up to me and be like, "Mr. Anderson, would you like anything, any last stuff?" And I say, no, I think it's time. and then I'll just close my eyes, bro, and then and that'll be it, bro. Like
I feel like you gonna close your eyes and your skin is gonna turn into dust. And the wind's gonna blow, and you just gonna go right. You gonna go right with it, and you just go right back into the earth.
Yeah.
You literally gonna fade. It's like you gonna fade like the cartoon, just like Finn. And the wind will just. If there wasn't wind all day, nigga, I'm telling you, it's gonna blow and take your ass away.
Yeah.
That's how they talk about these guys in India that die that way though, that they like turn back into the earth or something like that. Somebody, I have weird friends. I have nerd friends, and they show me these weird things. Some of them I, believe, but this in particular seemed, because the Indian culture is just, it feels very much more grounded and connected and rooted in something. Like, my connection to the earth is really extremely important to me, even though I only have one plant and like 6 rocks in here. And a lot of dead wood. I got a lot of dead wood in here, just lying around everywhere. But I believe a lot in the earth, and I want to be more connected to it, so that when I die, like I don't want to be in a hospital either. Like I want to be just like, like I don't know, just like laying in the grass in Africa somewhere, and then I just close my eyes and I just fade into the grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like somebody standing over me like, you did a good job, and like the whole village is looking, and like I hear music and
yes. I love it, yo. I love it. That's the type of and on my terms I'm talking about, yo.
but you know how I used to think of myself dying. It's because when you talk about God, you talk about God as your future self, and so I would be like, man, I think that I'm gonna die alone and wealthy. Like I imagine myself being in a room, and like because I'd be by myself, I would have like freaked out and got all my money put into cash and put into this room. So I'm like nervous, and I'm sitting in a room full of cash, and I'm dying, you know, and I'm and I'm by myself, and I got all my jewelry on, and I'm in the dark, and it just smells like money in there, and I'm just like, you know, when I see my future self, I'm like, dang, if that's my God, I don't know. I don't know if I want that to be my God.
Yeah, man.
You know, so. But what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about that fact that I didn't like how my future self looked?
Well, there's multiple futures, right? The future is plenty. The future is abundant. The future can be anything that you want it to be, but you have to want it, right? So if you're not liking the future self that you're seeing, then it's an indication that your desires are not what you would like them to be, right? Not what will be most beneficial to you. Because
Yeah,
what you see in your future is based off of your desires. Humans are aiming creatures. That's what we see with our eyes. And anything we move towards, like our eyes specify a target. And as we move towards that target, we experience more positive emotion, right?
yeah,
So as you move closer to the thing that you desire, you actually feel happier than you would be if you were to achieve the desire. So progress actually makes us feel better than obtaining, right? Um, so uh, so if you're looking at something that you're scared of manifesting, then it's your desires are in the wrong place, right? You want to then look at what do you want your life to look at? If you look like if that's the future that you see, that means that the choices that you're making right now is where that's leading, right? If you want to manifest a different thing, if you want your God to be different, then you have to reorient yourself towards the heaven that you want to create, right? What does the end of your life look like that you want to exist?
yeah. I want to be married to like a Tracy Ellis Ross type person. You know what I mean? Like somebody funny and hot, and you know, I can have beautiful kids with them, and the kids are like off, and they're all hot and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, you know, my daughter's with like the new hottest rapper or whatever, and they asking me questions about it. And I'm like, fuck, you know, um, that's the type of shit that I want to be on, just
Yeah.
On Steve Harvey's like sort of vibe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, I feel like if Steve Harvey passed away in the next 20 years, we'd be like, man, that cat lived a good ass life. You know what I mean? Because he's probably in his 60s now. He's got his own TV show and super, like, when you talk about like relevant or whatever, which is not a word I like, which I don't think is a word that should be used, but it's a word I know people understand when you talk about like what's currently happening right now. He's still very popular. And I like that. I like to be able to.
True, man. He's honest.
Yeah, he is, and he's funny, and yeah, he's a character now. Like you know, he's like bald. I mean, he's always been a character. He's like a caricature almost of him.
But I love how he's evolved, man, and he's changed his look. You know, because he used to have the super clean cut but it's always stayed rooted in that smile, man. Like that smile, it's $1 million smile.
And that and his style, you know.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
a man that's been able to he's a man that's been able to pull his style. And I see, you know, again going back to my my God or whatever, you know. My God is dressed really nice, man. And he's in a mansion, He's in like a mansion in the hills out here in LA. And he's rich, man. And he's dressed really nice. I feel like I have on white linen. I got on like a white linen suit. But I'm just in a dark room under the stairs. I see a stairway leading up, but I'm in the room under the stairs, and just all my cash is in this room. I don't even know why I'm sitting in there. Probably just to watch it, just to like sit on it and watch it.
So how does your Tracy Ellis Ross wife feel about you having this cash underneath the stairs?
Man, she's probably like cutesy with it, but like scared. She's like, she thinks I'm crazy. She thinks I'm crazy. She's scared, and I look at myself. I want to be like Frank Sinatra, bro. You know what I mean? Like I want to be somebody who becomes popular for singing and acting. Like that's where Leslie Odom Jr. is headed. You know what I mean? Like he could be like Frank Sinatra, bro. Like. If let's say he got a residency in Vegas in the next 10 years, start connecting with like whatever is left of the mob, he's gonna be the Black Frank Sinatra, bro. And it's like I want to be that guy who's like respected in every circle. I want to be able to walk into a church or a strip club and people be like, Akron over here, table for however many people you got, bottles popping, let's go.
Yo, I'm on that wave too, man. I'm on that wave.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like my wife is gonna understand that, and so she's gonna be slightly scared, but also just like give me some money so I can go shop and get this off my mind. And I wanted to be like, I want a down to earth girl who is used to. I need balance. I need yin and yang because I'm balanced. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand. You know what I mean? Like I ain't have to like super struggle growing up, but I didn't have everything. You know what I mean? Like I was the only child, so I was spoiled, but like my friends weren't. I didn't go to the spoiled school and shit. You know what I mean? Like I went to school with everybody else. I went to a private school for a little while, and then my parents were like, "Nah, we can't. I can't do this with him, anymore." And so and again, yin and yang. I went from a private school to a mixed white and black school. It was crazy, man. Like I feel like 7th and 8th grade, I started discovering. Oof.
How did you get into acting?
Acting was a part of everything. It was a part of school. It was a part of church. My parents would put me in charm competitions, and so I was doing like poems. It was in everything because they were trying to. My parents' goal was to not let me grow up the way they did. That was a big part of their. Yeah, that was a big part of their, like, I feel like marital agreement is like, let's give this kid a good life. And so, or like give him a chance or opportunity or something. I don't know. And so like I said, like I went to a private school, and so we had a big arts department. Then the church we went to, my pastor was a drama teacher. And then my mom was like the cute girl from SiHK or whatever. I think Lincoln or something. And so like she would just like have friends who'd be like, girl, bring him over here and put him in this thing. And she would go do it. And she put me in like charm competitions and stuff. I got trophies and stuff, man, from wearing suspenders and shorts and bow ties and stuff, man. And so I've been on stage for a while, bro. So it's like acting was a part of everything. It was a part of everything. I mean, it wasn't a part of home. I had 2 roommates, my mom and my dad, and like they were gonna get the truth out of me one way or the other. So it definitely wasn't a part of home. But other than that, man, it was like, yeah.
That's what's up.
But I don't know if that's what's gonna get me rich at the same time, though, man.
What do you think is gonna get you rich?
I mean, rich. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's gonna be real estate. I see a lot of wealthy people in real estate.
So you think it's gonna be something that doesn't involve your passion that's gonna make you rich?
I think yes. I don't know that I don't know that I'll have to work that hard at it. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna have to be
So
like slaving at real
you
estate.
looking for a get rich quick scheme.
I'm looking for a long term wealth family like vibe is what I'm. You know what I mean? Like I may be the only actor that comes in my generation of Watsons.
Hmm.
I just want to make sure that them kids and grandkids and stuff, because I want another generation of Watsons, just a couple more boys.
Yo, I've been having visions of feeling like, man, I'm gonna be the first ever real life Iron Man, like the first ever real, not Iron Man per se, but Tony Stark. Like billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. With a cool tech company that's making the hottest, innovative technologies that's saving the world. Um,
The first Black Iron Man, or what?
not even black, man. I haven't even put it on. Just the first Tony Stark, the first real life Tony Stark.
Well, I feel like that's Elon. We got to give Elon his credit.
Yeah, but he's not like a young sexy type. Like, I'm cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Like, Tony Stark is cool. He's kind of like the hip. He's the friend that you want to have. Like, you want to invite him to the party. Elon Musk is
Okay.
kind of loopy. And him and his wife naming their daughter this whatever it is, daughter son. Their kid is E34269, whatever they call them. They so they're kind of like on the weird spectrum. Like, and then me and Gabrielle are like cool, like just the young, hip, urban, couple that everybody wants to, be, that everybody wants to know, and can roll in any circle. Like you're saying.
I think I'm looking forward to you being that. And I, in the meantime, will be the old rickety rich man that I old
Hey,
rickety probably
you
single
could be
rich man.
the Batman. You could be Batman, right? You could be the Bruce Wayne character, right? Like the old, not the old Batman, forever Batman.
Oh,
You
like the
know
50-year-old Batman.
exactly.
Yeah, the Ben Affleck Batman. I got
Right.
you. I mean, it's not that I don't want to be Batman. I just want to pay a bunch of guys to be Batman around me
Right.
while you know
Exactly.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, like the real life Batman, because you wouldn't actually be a kung fu
But I
master.
tell you what I
Like,
do. I tell you what I do want to invest a lot in is not pharmaceuticals, because that sounds terrible. But I just want to make sure that I'm investing in the earth, like herbal ways to improve the body. I think that is a real key to our future. I see a lot of people. Um, I just remember growing up, there were a few fads. I don't remember kind of what they were, but I feel like fads existed when I was growing up. But now, when the fads are like sea moss and like things of the earth, oh, that's the food, bro. Can you get the door? I got some tuna sandwiches. My cousin is here, man, from Dallas. Anyways, yeah, man, I think I'm gonna invest in this. So I think that's what's gonna give me my superpowers is one day while I'm being rich and just hanging out with my Batman buddies, I'm gonna be like, hey man, bring me the new herbal thing that we just made. And they're gonna be like, oh man, we haven't even tried it. I'm gonna try it. And then
you're
like
gonna start glowing.
you know, and you're like fucking Swamp Thing or something. But I'll be the Swamp Thing. I'll be the first live Swamp Thing.
See, that's literally how I feel about this Tony Stark shit. Like, I'll be like, yo, bring me the newest, arm technology, fucking jetpack, and then they'll be bringing me stuff all the time, just like new shit to try out, or like the new iPad, you know, a fucking new eyeball. You like take your real eye out and put the new eyeball in, and it's actually,
Yes.
you know, plugs you up.
We'll team up, bro. We'll team up. You know, and and we'll have, you know, adventures and stuff.
Yo,
And
I had dreams, man, that we will be the first people to make universal impact. Right? Like, can you think about what that means? Like, what we do. And we talked about, you remember we talked about the lifespan of a human. This is how powerful humans are, right? That you could have a lifespan this small and then be so bold to think that the things that you do in your life can have universal impact. That means that the planets that we inhabit millions of years from now are affected by the things that we do today. Can you live your life in such a way that you do? What?
I feel like Beyonce is doing that, bro.
But I'm no. I'm not saying. I'm not talking about people that are celebrity making their voice, like following in their path enough that they are able to achieve their dreams, right? Like they won the game, they figured out how to play the game, won the game, and then they're playing the game. But I feel like the level of impact, just the ideas and the thoughts, the things that have been coming to me in the last, I mean, pretty much my whole life, but especially in the last couple of years, it's like, wow, some of these programs that I'll implement, first of all, world hunger solved, world peace solved, right?
Wow, you solved world hunger?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that it hasn't been done, you know, like man, it's wild. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have so many visions, so many ideas, so many thoughts. But now as I'm organizing them, I'm like, oh snap, I'm seeing how to hit each one. Even when you were over here the other day and we just like talked about all the films and stuff that we want to make this year alone. That's just 5 projects, right? Like 5, less than 10 projects that we have. I have thousands of ideas, right? And then those aren't even the ones that are going to make global impact, right? Then not even to talk about, once I've achieved all the ones that make global impact, then I can start talking about the ideas that make universal impact. And I was thinking about this, like I was telling Gabrielle, like, you know, the difference between you and me, baby, it's like we know, like, okay, Beyonce, Jay-Z, you know, these artists, these celebrities, even Will Smith, they became iconic in the field that they wanted to do. So like they followed in their passion and then they became famous, right? And then once they became famous and like achieved that, then they could start doing all this other stuff and figure out what they like, how they wanted to live their lives as celebrities. But Gabrielle and I, because we've aligned so young and before we reached iconic status, we have had time to plan out exactly how we want our careers to look, right? Because we know we're going to be on Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's level. We know we're going to be at Elon Musk's and his wife's level. Like we already know that those are the circles that we are destined to be involved in. So then to add on top of that we have all of this planning that we can do, right? All this forethought of ideas and concepts and things that we want to implement, and we're planning out our lives together, basically to make universal impact. We already, it's not like we're going into acting, and then once we become a successful actor, we find out, oh wait, maybe I should help the world. Maybe I should start a company that gives vegan food to homeless people. Instead, we're thinking about all of those ideas and concepts now, and we've been planning these things since we've met, right? Which is kind of cool. Gives you a leg up.
Yeah, man. I can't say that I plan to be this great, but now that I am, I just hope the world is ready for more of me. You know what I mean? Because God,
I have to be. They're gonna have to be.
But yeah, man. What else we got? What do we got? What else do we got?
I mean, we just got each other.
We got each other. We gotta hold on to. Well, I got my cousin and I got some food, so
right.
I might cut out a little early tonight.
All right, that sounds fair.
I got.
What do you want to talk about next week?
Let's see. Talked about God. We should talk about money next week. Let's talk about money, which is going to be crazy because I want to talk about those Forex, Bitcoin mining people that hit me up every day on Facebook. I don't know if you get those. I get one request a day now for a Forex Bitcoin miner on Facebook. I also get one call a day about extending my car warranty. Are you getting those?
Yo, I fucking hate them calls, man.
Every day.
Yo. And it's like, I thought I passed the deadline already. Y'all keep saying the deadline. You're almost at your deadline for your car's warranty. It's like, bro, do I have a car warranty or not? Motherfucker, leave me alone.
I want to talk about investing. I want to talk about not thinking about money. I want to talk about how an artist address money. I want to talk about something I just learned about a member of my family who's living as an artist, and how she handles money. And yeah, man.
Okay, I'm down for that. So next week we talk about investing in your Black future.
Oof.
Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. You're on the show, making the best case for the guiltiest pleasures. Ace Anderson and Akron Watson on The Devil's Advocate. We'll see you next week.